Hi everyone, welcome on our webinar. I'm here with Eliška.
Hello.
And we have a little change here because I'm supposed to be here with Teresa, but she's unfortunately ill, so we are sending her a lot of energy. First of all, I would like to ask you if you could send a comment and let us know if everything is working well, if you can hear us and see us. Meanwhile, I'll just do a short introduction and I'm going to tell you a bit more about our today's agenda. So today's webinar is focused mainly on expats that are already living in the Czech Republic. So we will focus on the administration process when you are changing a job. We will shortly also cover what to do when you are losing your job. And then we will continue with a short update on the job market, how it looks like on the job market. We will also cover some tips and tricks on CV, cover letter, and LinkedIn. And yes. And last thing, a very important one is how to prepare for the interview. So some crucial things like types of the questions, few tips on how to behave, and a few more. By the end, we will cover also your questions. So if there is anything you would like to ask, just let us know through the system, and by the end, we will cover the questions. Yeah. So I'll just refresh it and see if everything's working. So no one is commenting. I hope that everything works well. So I'll continue with the introduction. So this webinar is organized by Genixa. Genixa is a non-profit organization that helps people with difficult situations on the job market. When they lose their job or they are changing a job, so we are like guiding them through this career change. In Genixa, there are many people involved, and these people are HR professionals or recruitment professionals, and these professionals comes mainly from our organization or other organization in a good group family, Good Call. Good Call is a recruitment company that is covering recruitment in CE region. Then the other part of our Good Group family is Data Group that is developing IT platform for recruitment. And last but not least is a Recruitment Academy that is educating HR professionals across Europe. Also, I'd like to say a few words about our partners, Foreigners. Foreigners is providing complex service for foreigners. It helps with relocations, some legal support, or finding the right place to live, or also with some insurance things. They are located across the Czech Republic, and by the end, I will also share contact details if you would like to reach them with some other questions regarding visas and work permit. Also, shortly about us. So maybe Eliška, if you could introduce us yourself.
Me?
Yeah. Introduce you to us.
I will introduce myself. So hello one more time, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Eliška, and I work as a practice lead and team leader for business service and multilingual team in Good Call. I've been working with Good Call for over 4 years, and I'm specializing especially on shared service centers and business service sector as a general. So basically, I'm sure that you're pretty much aware of what shared service centers means, but I will get into more details in a few minutes. So that's me.
Great. So introduce myself. I'm Sára. I'm Eliška's colleague. We are working together in a multilingual team. So I'm working as a recruiter. In Genixa, I'm working as a project manager, and in my free time, I'm also doing some career guidance, and I'm working as a career advisor. So this is us. Let's go on the topics or on the agenda we prepared. I see you have many questions. That's great, and I hope that everything works well. For the very beginning, let's just summarize or refresh the differences between visa and work permit. So visa is a document or is a status that allows you to stay in the Czech Republic. Work permit is, on the other hand, something that allows you to work here. Yeah. So when you're coming here to the Czech Republic, you're not from European Union, you need to arrange both types of documents, and then you will get the employee card. Depends on if you have a free access to the job market here or not. You will receive or you will obtain a dual or non-dual employee card. Dual employee card is a one card. It's like an ID, if you would imagine it that way. Probably most of you has it, and if it's a dual, it's all connected or both says on your visa and work permit status. Let's talk a bit more about the administration process of changing a job. So if you have a free access to the job market, means that you for example studied in the Czech Republic, you obtain the degrees, some of the degrees, or you just graduated from Czech university. You have a free access to the market. After your graduation, you have a half a year to find a job. So during that time, you just can search and you're kind of secured. After you will find a job, you need to kind of let the Ministry of Interior know where you're working. And it is also the same situation when you are changing a job. So you let them know by sending the documents to them, and it's like a notification of a change, and you're sending also other documents as a contract. So you need to send original or a notarially certified copy, and then other documents that are connected to the contract that says that if the contract is limited or unlimited, where are you going to work, etc. This situation is kind of more complicated in terms when you have dual employee card. Means that your work permit is connected to an employer, and changing a job is not just deciding that you change, but also the future employer needs to take some steps that kind of allows you to start with the company. First of all, the employer needs to register the position at the labor office and get a job ID. So they will post the job over there, and this job has a specific ID. They need to keep it open for everyone for some certain period of time. For example, if I'm not mistaken, in Prague it takes 30 days. So they need to keep it open. If no one would be fitting, would sign for this position, they could let labor office know that they already have a fitting candidate that they would like to kind of give the job to, and the employer then issue the contract and gives all the details to the employee or the future employee. You will then need to take all the documents. You need to take the job ID, the new contract, and some letter, resignation or termination letter, like that gives information that you kind of resigned from your current company, and send all the documents to the Ministry of Interior. Ministry has 30 days to resolve it, so they have to resolve it in 30 days. So if you're already signed a new contract, you gave a notice. So in the notice period before starting in a new company, you need to also make sure that you give all the documents to the ministry. And just make sure that all the information in the contract are the same as in the registration form that was given by the employer to the labor office. So everything needs to be kind of same. For example, if there's some special education required, you need to also provide details of your education. So, for example, a degree or something like that. If the employer wrote that they need someone with some specific education. If you're in a situation when your work permit is connected to an employer, and unfortunately you have to resign, or something has changed, they move the department to somewhere else, or they cancel your contract, you need to then, after the contract ends and you haven't found any other position, you need to change the health insurance institution to a private one. So you need to, when you're staying here longer, you need to change the health insurance, and also you should change the purpose of a stay here. So your purpose was like work related, and you should change it for other, for example, for if you have here a partner or not. For other purposes, like if you're here like due to family reunion, or you have a partner here, you don't need to change your purpose to stay, but you need to change the health insurance. If someone lives here for a longer time and obtains a permanent residency, also those candidates can apply for unemployment financial support at the labor office. So then you need to register at the labor office latest 3 days after your contract ends, and then you need to kind of go to some consultation and ask there directly for the support. So that would be shortly about changing a job, and let's skip to the topic of the job market.
Yes. So let us tell you a few information about the job market, which obviously has rapidly changed over the few last months. The current unemployment rate, when we were talking about July, increased to 3.8%, which is kind of unusual from the situation which we had before. But we're still expecting the increase to up to 5 or 6% by autumn, especially once the government support to the companies will finish. So we'll see what happens. Nobody actually cannot really reflect and forecast anything very concretely, but these are the things that we can tell by now. If we talk about shared service center field or business service sector, I'm sure that a lot of you are familiar with this definition, but just to give you a short idea what SSC or shared service center means. Shared service centers are the centers which are usually created by a huge international, multinational, global companies to save their costs, and they kind of centralize certain activities to one place. Right now, for us, it's Prague usually, and they can, let's say, remotely handle all the activities from here. Usually, these activities are related to finance, accounting, customer service, logistics, sometimes HR, sometimes IT, technical support. So for you as foreigner or expat, somebody who cannot speak Czech, these are usually the companies that you have the biggest chance to get a job. You don't need a Czech language there. Usually it's especially English speaking companies, very multinational. And so in these sectors, as I mentioned, customer service, finance, accounting, technical support, these are usually the fields where you can get a job in Prague. If we talk about other fields, if we talk about maybe public sector, if we talk about, I see a question about architecture here, or related to sales and marketing, banking sector, sometimes or most of the times, usually for these sectors or positions, you need Czech language if you work here. So for you guys in these fields, it's gonna be a much bigger struggle to get a job here. So the sectors which were most affected by the whole Corona and COVID situation, the sectors were somehow affected because of all the government restrictions which happened. So usually we're talking especially about hospitality industry, we're talking about tourism, aviation industries, and also all the companies or industries which were depending dependent on these sectors. So, for example, gas and oil companies, whose biggest customers are, for example, aviation companies, were struggling a lot, especially because oil dropped. The price of the oil dropped a lot. In shared service centers, it really depends on the field where they're in, and the behavior of the companies really depended on their sector they're in. So, for example, pharmaceutical companies, IT companies, or FMCG companies, they're fine. They're pretty much at the same as before. Some of them even got and reached out their best results this year, but it really depends. The shared service centers or the branches here reflect the situation of their home countries. So, for example, American companies where the situation is still not very well handled are reflecting their situation right there and not here. So even though we cannot be almost fine here, the restrictions comes from the headquarters, which is in States. So some companies had to undertake a hiring freeze, which means that they're not hiring at all. Some of them were able to or are able to hire only for critical positions, and some of them goes with the recruitment as before. Just they, for example, don't use external help because they are able to cover their needs by themselves. That means that especially because of all the affected industries, especially in hospitality and tourism, there were a lot of people dismissed. So these people are right now active at the market, which was not usual before. Prague has had before almost zero unemployment rate. That's what we always were complaining about, and these job applicants, of course, helped the companies to cover their positions by themselves. These are usually junior positions, meaning not only junior like without experience, but junior meaning the positions where you don't need any certain specific experience, certification, or education, for example. With the other roles, so with the expert roles, if we talk about some software developers, about some managerial positions, or the positions where you need a certain education, experience, or certification, the companies actually struggle maybe more than before, because the candidates or the people right now are very afraid to change their role right now. They're happy that they had a chance to keep their job, and they're not willing to change right now. So this is just about the job market situation right now. If you're in the situation where you are searching a job or you were forced to change a job and find a new job, here are some tips from us where you can go. I'm sure that you know many of them. What I would emphasize is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is definitely one of the most frequent sources for all the employers, headhunters or recruiters. So make sure that you have your LinkedIn profile updated and still up to date. And one more very cool portal that we could recommend is Welcome to the Jungle, where you could find very cool profiles of the companies themselves. And in terms of the CV, if you struggle with creating your CV, these are the basic things that your CV should have and include. I'm sure that you're aware of that. Just one tip from us as people who see a lot of CVs every day. You have to be aware and keep in mind that recruiters see and go through a lot of CVs on a daily basis. So we usually spend only a few seconds on every single CV. So for you, that means that you should definitely keep your CV simple, structured, clear, and brief and honest, of course. But don't try to experiment with colors or graphic. Try to keep it very simple, very structured, so that we can see what we have to and what we want to see in the first second. On the other hand, maybe the things that you may not know, what CV don't have to or doesn't have to include is, for example, your photo, which is something on question. Some countries really want to have the photo in the CV. Some of the countries actually is the opposite and doesn't include it at all. But all the things that can bias you somehow, such as religion, nationality, even your marital status, these are the things that you don't have to put on your CV.
Yeah. Eliška, I got a question for you regarding the photos on the CV.
Yeah.
So, what do you prefer, a CV with a photo or without a photo?
Well, me as a recruiter, I usually prefer a photo because for me it's much more easier after some time to remind myself the person if I see a lot of people on weekly basis, and you just probably will remember the people with the photo on their CV more than the ones without it. Of course, you can have some other things which reminds you the person, but for me it's much more comfortable while referring to because we usually keep in touch with the candidates for longer term, so it's much easier. How about you?
I also prefer CV with photos because I know who I'm going to meet with. It's like, I'm going to meet this person, and also when the picture is nice and the person is smiling, I always goes to the interview in a positive mood, I would say, because I feel like I should meet someone positive who's like smiling on the picture. That makes me feel comfortable.
Yeah. Good point.
So here's just one example of a CV that you can, or how you can structure it. I just created my own CV. So you can see the structure is clear. On the top there are the contact details. Then there's the education part, employment history, and on-site I put some skills like language skills, digital skills, and some other projects I participated on. So this is one of the examples how the CV can look like, and it can be structured in different ways. It's I just used two colors, black and kind of pink one, and just to keep it also graphically simple. Also, what you should do always before sending somewhere CV, double check that you don't have any grammar mistake there.
Typos, yeah.
And any typos, yeah. Thanks. Very shortly about cover letter, because still some employers are asking for cover letters. So cover letter is something that is kind of supporting the CV, and you can write there more about your experience and your skills. So that's why the cover letters could be very valuable, and still the employers want to read them. It should be structured, or the structure is kind of simple. There should be an address on the top, then some introduction about yourself, and pointing out your strengths and motivation with some examples. Don't be negative in the cover letters. Try to keep positive. Try to be concrete, and don't give don't write only cliches without an example, like saying I am flexible, adaptable, and dynamic. It actually doesn't say anything, but if you would put some example, let's say I'm flexible. I used to travel around the Czech Republic as I was doing sales support, key account management for several branches or several clients across the Czech Republic. That might say much more. Here's also example of the structure of the cover letter. So on the top, name, address, and email, phone, to whom it may concern, or dear sir or madam. If you know who are you going to write to, if there's the hiring manager or the HR professional, you just can write the name dear Mrs. Smith or something like that. Always try to end the cover letter in a positive way. So, for example, thank you in advance for considering my application. I'm looking forward to our personal meeting where I could tell a bit more about myself. These are the endings that sound very, let's say, in a good way. Let's cover LinkedIn profile. As Eliška mentioned, LinkedIn is a crucial source for not just job seekers, but also for us recruiters who are like living basically on LinkedIn and trying to find the right candidates. If you don't know LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a professional network where you can connect with recruiters, with your colleagues, or with potential employers. Maybe also some other people who do think they are like inspiring, let's say, or very interesting. Someone who's like regularly posting on LinkedIn. There is a special function that can help recruiters to know that you're open to new opportunities. The function right now is renamed and says they're open to work, and it gives a clear instruction to recruiters that they can reach you. But how do we find the candidates? Yeah, so you need to use like some keywords, and you need to fill properly the profile. So if we would be looking, for example, for accountants that would be experienced with some standards, we would put those keywords in a search bar, and then we could find you. So make sure that your LinkedIn profile is filled, and don't be afraid to connect with people. Maybe you don't know them, but on LinkedIn doesn't really matter that much, because there's this professional network. So one you never know when you will need someone to connect with, or if someone would offer you a job. So it's always great if you're like kind of connecting people and having then bigger network. Now let's check the parts of the LinkedIn profile and how to fill it. So first, this is how the bottom looks like. Always make sure that your profile picture is a professional one. Don't put the picture from a vacation, or don't try to cut it off some group photo. If you don't have such a nice picture as Teresa have, you can always ask someone from family or friend to take a picture in front of the white wall. That would always look better than like having a picture from a beach. There you can see the banner. All people that are working in Good Call have the same banner. This is not that important if you upload some banner, some picture over there or not. What is important, or what it always is nice to have, like to make it, let's say, or to write it good, is the motto. It's not like a motto like no, I just can't remember anyone
Never say never.
Never say never. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, or day without a smile is not a good day. That's not the motto that LinkedIn wants you to write there. LinkedIn wants you to write motto or like a professional one. So as you can see, Teresa have here sourcing partner at Good Call and senior consultant at Genixa. I get the, for example, career advisor, recruiter, and project manager. So there are always some keywords that could kind of tell more about you. If you don't know what to write there, just write your current position and the current company. So recruiter at Good Call. It's very nice when you write something about you. So this is the example for my profile. I wrote like a story of who I am, what do I like, but you can write there also in the bullet points. I'm accountant, I can do this and this. Connect with me for more details, or write me email at. fill preferably the experience. That's what I already mentioned earlier, and also don't forget to write education and all the certifications that you obtained. Regarding the skills and accomplishments, right now LinkedIn has this feature where you can test your skills. So that's right now it's mainly technical. So you just go through some tests, and even LinkedIn says, yeah, of course, she or he has the skill. But other connections can also confirm your skills. That's very, very useful if you would like someone, or if you would like to point out some of your skills. You can ask your network to support you with that. Then there's also section the volunteering experience that can be very interesting in terms of like knowing the candidate, or maybe some of the background. Part of recommendations can work instead of some references. So if you would be, for example, connecting or putting a LinkedIn profile in your CV, and you will have fill the recommendations, then the future employer also can understand from the words of the others what's your background, what are your strengths, and so on. So we get to the point, to the most important part, and it is how to get ready for the interview. So how to get ready?
How to get ready? We want to share with you a few tips and tricks, especially tips which we believe you should not underestimate. Especially the first one is get ready before the interview take place. So make sure that you are over prepared rather than under prepared. It's always seen, and you can be sure that the recruiters or the managers that you're talking to will find out, or you can say you will feel much more confident. You won't be that nervous. You won't be thinking about what if they ask me this question and I don't know the answer. So once you're prepared, you will be feeling much more confident, and the recruiter can always say. So definitely read as much information as possible before the interview about the position and about the company. You can Google a few news about what's happening around the company, and definitely go through the job description one more time, because that's one of the crucial or typical questions by the recruiter. How did you understand the position while reading the job description, or what do you know about our company? Following up with the question saying, why do you want to work for our company? So the more information you have, the better your answer will be. So never underestimate the preparation. The second thing is definitely prepare questions for the recruiter. A lot of people usually ask us if it's not too bad that we're asking too much, and that, for example, they think that they looked stupid because they probably already should know the answer. That's not correct. The interview is not only for the employer to get to know you, but also it's for you to get to know the employer. So definitely prepare the questions that you want to ask. Definitely it can be regarding anything that you want to ask about home office, about the team, about the future development possibilities, about your future boss, whatever. But if you want to ask, definitely don't ask only about salary or only about how many home offices you can take. If you ask only these questions, that doesn't look good, and it looks like that you're motivated only by the money or by the benefits. So you can definitely, it's not bad to ask these, but make sure that you ask more of the questions regarding the team and the company, etc. Another thing which is pretty cool, if you prepare a short pitch about you. That's usually the first question every recruiter will ask you. What will you tell us about you? Who is Sára? Tell me who is Sára. Sára. Or what's interesting about you. So just make sure that you prepare a few sentences. It doesn't necessarily have to be about your where you live or what you studied, or you don't have to read your CV. It can be 2-3 sentences which makes you interesting somehow, or make sure that they will remember you in the future. Very, very easy, and you can probably share the things that they won't probably ask you. Anything which you feel that you achieved or is interesting about you.
I have a great example here. I had one senior candidate, and he had really great pitch. He just started to talk about himself, and what I remember about him, that he loves jazz. That's the thing that I remember. And
very important.
It's of course I didn't remember the experience, but the like one of the last things was about his hobbies, and he pointed out, I love jazz. I really enjoy listening to jazz and going to jazz concerts, and it was also really nice to hear something that I can't read in the CV.
Yeah. One good one that I've read recently on some blog was that there was a candidate who came and once the recruiter asked him, it was the best answer the recruiter experienced, and it was, I am whatever, Peter, and I just climbed some very cool hard mountain. And it can be even like achievement from your own daily life, but it can says a lot about you, especially at work as well, that you're persistent, that you're sporty, that you're actually able to achieve something, you like challenges. So whatever you feel that you're proud of, you can definitely share if you feel comfortable, of course, sharing it. Mm-hmm. Another tip, definitely behave polite, be humble, be honest, be yourself. Don't try to oversell yourself. That's something that recruiters really don't like. And try to be comfortable, and because once you're gonna not behave like yourself, you're probably gonna be nervous, and you won't be that confident as you probably would be normally. And one more other tip is that even though you have a bad experience with the previous employer, try to be very objective, or try to not go into much details if you feel very negatively about the employer, because that's something that the recruiters or the potential employers don't like, especially because they feel that this is like alert for them, saying that's something that maybe after leaving our company the person will talk about us this way as well. So try to stay online, try to not be too informal, but on the balance level, also being still yourself. Here are some questions that you can ask. As I mentioned, definitely don't start or don't ask only about salary or benefits, but definitely very important questions that you like to probably know is about your team. You can ask how big the team is, if they sit only here, or what's the nationalities. If we talk about service centers, that's usually a very frequent question. Where they're from, where the colleagues are from, who you're gonna report to, what's the structure, what's the future plan, how can I grow, how fast can I grow. Also, you can ask about their expectations for the candidate. It's something that it's not a frequent question from the candidate to ask us, but it also shows your interest, your motivation, and that you're very, let's say, interested and proactive in that sense. Some other tips and tricks for what you can prepare. Definitely, on the other hand, of course, you're preparing a lot of questions for the recruiter, but you also have to make sure that you prepare your answers to their questions. The most frequent questions that they will ask you is about your motivation, why you want to work for us, why you want to work at this position, and also why you're leaving your current employer. Sometimes candidates feel uncomfortable sharing this with us, but keep in mind that it's not something that is, should be covered or secret. It gives us a lot of information, valuable information about what you like, what you don't like, what your requirements are, what is your motivation. It's not only, we don't ask these questions only to get to know you if you're fit for us, but also if we can offer you the things that you actually want. So that's why we're trying to get as much information and as many details as possible about your requirements, your motivation, the reasons why you're leaving, if it's because of the structure or the company itself or the team or the boss or the position wasn't enough anymore. Anything honestly you can answer, because the more you share, the better probability is that you're gonna fit with the right company.
That also helps us recruiters, especially if we have several clients or several positions, so we know what we should recommend you for. Because sometimes, for example, you have 5 years of experience in accounting, and you just want to leave because you want to change a job and you want to do something else, or you're leaving because for example, department was cancelled and you want to continue in accounting, and all these details like on what you enjoyed and did you enjoy it and where do you see yourself gives us the better understanding what we should recommend you, and where we could kind of see the future cooperation, which roles in which companies.
Exactly. So don't be afraid to answer these questions, and keep in mind that the recruiter is not trying to grill you. It's more for their better understanding of you as a person and your requirements and conditions. Of course, they're gonna ask you about salary. Salary is something that try to be always open to, because there's every company, every position has certain budget, which is not one concrete number, but it's a range depending on the experience of the person and how many candidates or applicants they, for example, have, so it's always better to give a certain range. And say something about being flexible in that we can discuss, we can negotiate. You can definitely share what's the minimum you would like to get and what's the very nice amount that you would like to get. It doesn't mean that once you say the minimum and that you would probably take the job for the minimum, that they will always offer you only the minimum. It's for them to understand what's the flexibility in the negotiation. And if you work with external agencies as good colleagues, we're very happy to always negotiate, and we are there always for you in trying to negotiate also the final offer. And also it's always good and nice if you send some short follow-up email to the recruiter after the interview saying just, hey, it was great to meet you, pleasure to meet you, it was a great talk and I'm looking forward to hearing more. I'm still interested, something just a short reminder. It looks professional, it looks that you're interested, and it's very nice. We like these.
Yeah, also if you have any further questions, you can include them in this follow-up email after the interview.
Yes, exactly. Here are some other tips and tricks. Definitely one that we could share and that we're particularly sensitive to is the handshake. We don't like these dead shakes, that's usually dead fish handshakes that some candidates give us. It's always a problem. Don't be afraid to give us the right handshakes. Show your strength. It gives a great first impression, and also it shows your professionalism and also your confidence. So make sure that you always keep it in mind while entering and saying hi to the person. If you're nervous, that's fine. Don't be scared that you're nervous. You can hide your hands if you feel comfortable like that. But nervousity doesn't mean necessarily that you're not confident. It means that you're maybe very interested and that you care. So that's fine. We're really not, let's say, giving any final decisions based on the thing that you're nervous. And last but not least, the examples of the most frequent questions that the recruiter can give you. These are the few that we already mentioned. Why you decided to leave your previous employer. As I mentioned before, it's very important to get the information about that. Another frequent question, what did you like the most at your last position? Again, it gives us the idea what you like, what you disliked, and what probably you can expect at this position, if it's fit or not, if he can offer you this or not. So again, it's mutually beneficial to answer honestly and concretely. Special types of questions that the recruiters ask are behavioral questions. Behavioral questions are questions which ask about your behavior in the past, meaning asking about your concrete behavior in concrete situations. So if recruiter gives you, for example, a question, have you recently had a conflict with your coworker? What was it about? Tell us about it. What was the biggest challenge you had to face lately? Or describe as the worst customer or the rudest customer that you had to handle, and how did you handle him? So these questions help us to understand how you behave in these concrete situations. So make sure that you always answer them, because sometimes people are so communicative and so talkative that they start to talk but they actually don't answer. So always make sure that you give us the clear answer to the question. You usually should answer in singular. That means I, not we, because if you say we, you're kind of hiding the answer behind your team or your coworker. We did this and we reacted like that. So we're asking about your behavior. So make sure that you talk for yourself. And don't use condition. That means I would react like that, I would behave this way. It's very easy for every person to say how we would probably or how we should probably react in the certain situations, but we're really asking about your behavior in the past. It's the best predictor how you would behave in the future.
Can we give some specific example of, for some, not just the question, but maybe give the answer how it should look like?
Sure.
So let's say with the biggest challenge.
What was the biggest challenge you had to face at your last position? Answer.
Okay. So
I don't have anything in mind. No.
Biggest challenge. Well, let's say, for example, just theoretically. So my biggest challenge at my last position was acquisition of a new client. Mm-hmm. I had to go through the stage of a tender when we had to write a proposal for a client, give a big presentation to the management, and later on start on a project that was limited by time. The challenge was that we had to find 12 professionals in 2 months, and they had to start exactly in those 2 months. So we had to focus on the candidates that could start immediately or were already in the notice period, and we couldn't accept those candidates that didn't give the notice. So that was the biggest challenge.
And then the recruiter can probably also ask some follow-up questions. For example, so what was so challenging about that?
The challenging was the time, the limitation of time. So we had to deliver those candidates in a short period of time.
Okay, great.
Another thing would be, what was the result? How did you pass the challenge? So then I would say, for example, we managed to hire 10 of 12 people, and they were able to start with those 10 people, and we could hire the rest of 2 later on.
Nice.
That
Yeah.
would be
So
example.
these are usually the questions that you cannot actually much prepare for, but it's something that the recruiters and the employers usually use much more currently than before. So you can definitely Google few. They're not very. They're of course thousands of them, but they usually ask about the same things. So definitely you can prepare at the sense that you can read few of them and you can try to get the answer for yourself to make sure that you won't get stuck as me like 3 minutes ago when she asked me.
Great. Okay, so we are at the end. We covered most frequent questions. We covered tips and tricks on CV, cover letter, and LinkedIn. And also, Eliška shared with us the current situation at the job market. At the very beginning, we spoke about the administration process of changing a job or what you need to do when you terminate at a company. For some questions we can cover right now. So we will start with the most fresh one. Mm-hmm. Hi, I have left my job due to my team leader as she was doing politics and was quite rude to foreigners. Worked only 3 months. So should I mention this thing when asked in interview why I left my job?
Well, I would say yes, you can definitely share it. If it's really the reason why you left, I don't think it. I guess it's subjective. Subjectively speaking, I would probably prefer you to say. Of course, it's better not to go to many details. It really depends on the recruiter if she or he asks some follow-up questions. How did she behave? Give us more details. But if this was the right the reason, the only reason why you left, then definitely you can be honest in that. The point of the thing that once we said don't say any negative things about your previous employer was in the way that sometimes we experienced that the people really got into like flash and they got swearing and very informal and you can see that because of course for us it's really difficult to see if this was really a fault of the employer or also of the candidate, right? So definitely you can be honest, you can share it, but make sure that it's online. It's not too intense.
Yeah, just keep it professional. Just there was there were some situation when I disagree of my team leader's behavior, and I decided to leave because it doesn't make me feel comfortable.
Exactly. Nothing bad about it.
Yeah. What is the scope of finding a job in HR, finance, and junior positions? I've been looking for the job for the last 3 months, but not getting any positive response. As Eliška mentioned at the very beginning, for the junior positions, there's the I would say there's the
huge competition
right now. So it can be very challenging. I understand that looking for a job for 3 months can be tiring, but just keep looking, keep positive, and keep motivated. I know it can be really hard for you.
Also, especially HR, finance should be, I think, easier. HR is a field which is still, unfortunately, been seen as a secondary field or not that important field. So we experienced that a lot of companies actually, while cutting their costs, they also dismissed a lot of recruiters or HR people because these are not the ones which brings the results or the business to the sales to the company. These are secondary or supportive functions. So with these, usually with HR right now, it's been much more challenging than before. But in finance, I'm sure that you will find, just keep looking and don't get stressed out. It's gonna be fine.
Another question is about a changing change of field and career. So advice on that would be some additional courses, Depends on your current status. If you're living here for a longer time, you might apply for the permanent residency and then through the labor office ask for some paid courses where you can change your qualification. So, Namita, hello, I'm non-EU citizen with a valid work permit to work in the Czech Republic, but it's really hard to find a job here with 3.8 years of work experience in investment and banking and finance, because most of the companies doesn't prefer non-EU. Oh yeah, that is true. The process can be longer. It can take much more time to go through the labor office, because this is the process how it looks right now. Though the recent change, I think, was half a year ago, where the minister have to resolve it in 30 days. Could shorten the time, because in a way the candidate needs to give a notice period that is longer than 2 months. So this shortened the time, though the companies are still not that open to non-EU citizens. I would try big international SSCs or finance SSCs.
That's the thing, because investment and banking, usually for these you need Czech language. So as I mentioned before, the SSCs usually there you can find positions in accounting rather than pure finance or customer service or logistics. These are usually supportive functions, not always, but more supportive. So definitely in the banking sector you will find a big disadvantage, because in the bank industry you need Czech language. But if you're willing to focus on finance or accounting, then I'm sure that in the share service centers you can get a chance.
Yeah. Meg, hello, I would like to ask about job seeking visa for graduates from Czech universities. What are the advantages of it? For example, is someone with this type of visa allowed to start when she found a job, or do they have to wait for employee card? If you graduated from the Czech university, you don't have to wait for the employee card. The employee card will then be issued based on your contract, so you don't have to wait for that.
You get free access to the market once getting the degree. So that's the thing that a lot of people and foreigners from non-EU countries actually do. They go here to get a bachelor or master, and like that you can actually easily, this is the easiest way, let's say, for the non-EU members to get the free access to the market here.
Yeah, and while you're studying, you can also start to work. It's like actually the law says that you can work within a field of your studies. So for example, if you're studying accounting and you find a part-time job or full-time, it depends on your schedule, and you find job in finance, that shouldn't be any problem, definitely. So this is the advantage of it, and I would go for that, because later on when you would be staying here a longer time and kind of deciding for that, the changing a job wouldn't be that painful, let's say, because the process is like super or much more easier than like not having this status.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Few more questions. I'm having long-term resident card for business. Can I work on this? How to get in point? So probably I think you mean that you're freelancing here and you can't work on that on contract. You need to change the purpose of your stay.
One more question.
Yeah. Can you please elaborate the thing which you explained earlier about going on to the labor office and doing courses? This depends on the if you have the permanent residency here. Harshita, it's the situation is that if you have the permanent residency, you can ask for some support, and one of the support is not just financial, but it's additional courses. mainly those courses are in Czech. So I'm not really sure how's your Czech on the range of the courses, the length, and if this is paid or non-paid. This information you would get at the labor office definitely, or I believe more information would give you our colleagues in foreigners.
Exactly, that's something that I wanted to follow up with. Definitely with all these, we can definitely commend you foreigners. This is a great bunch of very friendly people, young ones, very very open-minded, very friendly, and there will be always happy to help you with any things related to your relocation to Czech, anything related to whatever you need in your daily life if you don't speak Czech, even legal things, legal stuff, searching for apartments, everything related to it. They'll be happy to help.
Definitely. We are also happy to help. Here are the contact details. Feel free to reach me if you would have any further questions regarding the job market, seeking a job, or if you, for example, if you're looking for the job right now, you might send me your CV on my email address or on the email address where I sent you the invitation for this webinar. Here are the promised contacts on our colleagues from foreigners, so you can reach Nadia, Oldřich, and Martin. They are located in different locations. Also Gabriela and Lucia. Just email them with your question and you can agree on some consultation, or they will just shortly explain you the process via email or via phone.
Great. So we covered it all?
Yeah.
Any more questions? Nothing.
Seems that there are no more questions, so if anything else you would like to ask about, contact me. Thank you very much for your time, and have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you very much, and fingers crossed with finding a job, and good luck, take care, enjoy the summer.
Thank you, bye.